It's a beautiful night for baseball. And live from Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, Sportsnet LA presents the Los Angeles Dodgers and the San Diego Padres in the first of a three-game series and the final three games of the regular season. Hi again, everybody. Charlie Steiner, Oral Hershiser, Nomar Garciaparra. Vin is under the weather. He will be off this weekend. So the Dodgers at 89 and 70 are tied with the New York Mets for best home record, at least in the first round of the playoffs. The Mets have been rained out tonight. They have a day-night doubleheader tomorrow with Washington. They won't be scoreboard watching tonight. They're going to be television watching, and they'll be watching Alex Wood on the hill. Coming off yesterday's performance by Brett Anderson, Wood, for his playoff possibilities, has a lot to show tonight.
Yes, he does. You know what? He really kind of needs to hold serve. You know, Brett Anderson went at it 7 2/3 innings, only 4 hits, had an outstanding outing. And tonight, when we take a look at Alex Wood, he has thrown the ball well as being a Dodger, acquired on July 30th. The best thing that I love about him is he competes. He's got good, solid stuff. He understands how to win, and he has been a solid pitcher for the Dodgers since coming here. This will be his 12th outing, but I think it's going to be a very important outing if he's going to make this playoff roster. And you know what? To make that lasting impression, Nomar, he's going to have a veteran leader behind the plate.
Listen, going into the postseason, you look for veteran leadership and experience, and A.J. Ellis provides both. Since June 21st, he's played 41 games, and all he's done at the plate, well, he's hit near 280. He has an on-base near 400, and we've seen him in the past in the postseason where he's done extremely well. I mean, when I think about active catchers that have a minimum of 400 games caught, A.J. Ellis has the lowest ERA.
And so tonight is the first of three. Casey Kelly, a rookie right-hander, going for the Padres. Alex Wood for the Dodgers, back with the lineups at first pitch right after this. The year, 11 up and 12 down, a 3.89 ERA. First of this three-game series, the final three games of the regular season. How did the Mets do tonight? They did not play. Rained out. They're expecting more rain in New York tomorrow. They're hoping to get a day-night doubleheader in with the Washington Nationals back east. Dodgers out tonight. They have to take care of their own business, all even with New York at 89 and 70. The Padres at 74 and 85. And Pat Murphy has put this lineup together, beginning with Corey Spangenberg at second base and Derek Norris behind the plate. Yangervis Solarte at third base has hit .310 since the end of July. Jerko at short, Melvin Upton Jr. in center, Alexi Amarista in left, young Cody Decker with 6 major league at-bats at first base, Travis Jankowski in right, and pitching and batting ninth is Casey Kelly.
Well, Alex Wood on the mound today is doing his best audition for the third starter role, with Brett Anderson doing so well yesterday. In some ways, maybe Alex is pitching to just get on the roster, be a long man out of the bullpen. He has some relief experience, but he has been up and down throughout his time here with the Dodgers. The last outing was a rocky one, but the few before that have been outstanding, and especially his changeup here in September has been miraculous.
And he has done well at Dodger Stadium in 4 home starts, 2-2 and a 2.36 ERA. And with the Dodgers, this is his 12th start with an ERA of a shade over 4.5. The speedy Corey Spangenberg leads off at second base. He's at .271 with 4 home runs and 21 runs batted in, and has done significantly better in the second half of the season. Norris and Solarte to follow, and here comes the first pitch on this 75-degree Friday night, and it's inside and low, 1 ball and no strikes. It'll be Solarte, Norris, Spangenberg, Norris, and Solarte here in the first inning. And a chopper into center field for a base hit. So Corey Spangenberg, a threat to steal with a leadoff single to center.
I'm just thinking about Alex Wood, as you mentioned, on the hill. We're talking about possibly competing for a spot on that postseason roster. But I always think that's great, especially when a team that's clinched already and you're trying to think, okay, what's going to get the energy going for the team? Well, one, obviously the Dodgers are trying to play for home field advantage. But two, also when you have somebody on the mound who the pitcher sets the tone for the game, going out there and trying to compete to win a spot.
Derek Norris hitting near .300 against lefties this year. Cranky, Kershaw, and Brett Anderson watching. Norris with 14 home runs, takes a strike, and it's 0-1. So the Padres at 74 and 85. They fired Bud Black 65 games into the season. He was 32 and 33. Pat Murphy 42 and 51. That's the Padre record under the first-year manager.
Always a little buzz when the guys from the other part of California come up here. This is a rivalry, and maybe not quite as intense as the one with the Giants, but the Padres seem like they're always trying to catch the Dodgers.
Norris takes inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Padres starting outfield, at least on paper, done for the year. You just saw Matt Kemp. He's out with bad hand. Will Myers, the center fielder, he is out with a bad wrist, and Justin Upton's got a bad neck. Into center field, and that's Kike Hernandez. So it's Hernandez in center, and he is flanked by Carl Crawford in left and Andre Ethier in right. Justin Turner at third, Seager starting at short, Kendrick at second, Adrian Gonzalez is at first, and A.J. Ellis is behind the plate. Now Yangervis Solarte. He's the 13th leading hitter in the National League since July 25th. Hitting .310 since then. And even better in the month of September. Jerko is on deck, and a quick toss to first base, and Spangenberg back standing up.
Real important, because you get to the playoffs, Noam, and you got to control the running game. And keeping the double play in order, the small little things right now the Dodgers need to concentrate on getting ready.
Ellis has thrown out 8 of 30 this year, 27%.
It's funny, Oro. I mean, in the postseason, how important is every 90 feet?
I mean, it is big
crucial.
and it's magnified.
Yep. There's not one pitch that you throw. There's not one swing that you take at the plate. There's not one ground ball that you pick up that will not be analyzed to the nth degree.
Right.
To the right side, Gonzalez with the flip to Seager, back to first, not in time. Adrian's about as good as it gets on those little infield grounders and the effortless and always accurate throw.
He's always so calm when he's fielding the ball, and I'll tell you, you feed off of it, especially when you're about to receive this ball from him. When you know, okay, he's calm, it allows you to relax over there receiving the ball. As Corey Seager, he was making sure, to get the first out over there at second base, and then two, was making a good throw. It wasn't a matter of being so quick to try to turn that double play as compared to making a good throw, especially when your first baseman is on the run covering first base.
Jerko, a poor first half, a much better second half, and he's batting cleanup tonight, and they envision him as the shortstop of the future as he swings and misses, 0-1. Angels and Rangers are tied at 1 in the bottom of the 7th. And the Astros are winning in Arizona. Inside and low. You're in the top of the 2nd in Arizona. Houston with a 5-0 lead. Springer has hit a home run. One ball and 2 strikes to Jed Jerko. The Twins and Royals are tied at 1 in the top of the 8th. The Angels desperate for a victory. Here's the 1-2, swung on and missed, strike 3. So the leadoff single, no runs and a hit. When we come back in the bottom of the 1st, Crawford, Kendrick, and Adrian Gonzalez, and Casey Kelly making his 2nd start in 2 years. Here's the lineup that Mattingly's put together tonight. Crawford, Kendrick, and Gonzalez. Turner, Ethier, and Seager. Ellis, Hernandez, and Alex Wood. And this is a lineup that could well be the Dodgers lineup in the first playoff game. They're going to be facing Casey Kelly, making his 2nd start, his 2nd in 2 years.
You know, we don't know what that playoff roster is going to look like. Maybe that lefty-righty matchup. But as you mentioned, they're facing a right-hander today in Casey Kelly. And his first and only major league start, as you mentioned, the 2nd one in 2 years. But that last one came last week, his only major league start, where he's roughed up early. Gave up 6 runs, and those came in the first 2 innings. But he did retire the last 11 straight batters he faced.
Some get back faster than others off Tommy John. Kelly, it took almost 2 years. Crawford fouls it off, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Kendrick and Gonzalez to follow. Crawford, a solid year against San Diego, and For Carl, this is just his 68th game as he fouls it off to the left. That's a lot of time with the torn oblique.
He's battled injuries throughout his career, but when he's healthy, he's a very dynamic player, can carry a team. He loves playing against the Padres.
Corey Spangenberg, first out of the first. Defensively behind Kelly tonight, Yanhervis Solarte and Jed Jerko on the left side of the infield, Spangenberg and Decker on the right. As we mentioned earlier, with Amarista, Upton Jr. and Jankowski in the outfield, the regular starters for the Padres, Justin Upton, Will Myers, Matt Kemp, all on the sidelines. Derek Norris behind the plate. Howie Kendrick steps in. And he takes outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Kendrick at 293 was 2 for 4, had a run scored yesterday in San Francisco. Howie's still got a hamstring barking at him. That seems to be the injury du jour this year. 2-0 to short. Jerko picks it up and throws him out.
You're talking about how he's hamstring, and that's the challenge that Don Mattingly has going down the stretch. Is one, veteran guy like Howie Kendrick back healthy or able to play, but get the balance of him getting him hot for the postseason, and also how much do you play him so to make sure he doesn't re-aggravate that injury.
How sharp is too sharp. Of course, Chase Utley can serve as an able understudy as Adrian Gonzalez steps into the batter's box. Gonzalez at 276. He's the offensive leader for the Dodgers with 28 home runs. And he takes outside, 1 ball and no strikes. Gonzalez 1 for 4 and drove in a run yesterday. Dodgers 11-5 this year against the Padres. In fact, dating back to 2011, the Dodgers against San Diego are 58-32, a .644 winning percentage. That's the most one-sided record within a division in the National League. Spangenberg halfway to Pasadena. Throws out Gonzalez in an easy 1-2-3 inning for Casey Kelly. Upton Jr., Alexei Amarista, and Cody Decker coming up in the second. Nancy B. Heffley announced her retirement, and there's Oral presenting her very own jersey. 28 years. She's as good as she gets. And, we love the Flower Girl.
She was a rookie in 1988. There she is behind the organ.
Melvin Upton Jr. to the right side, couple of steps to his left. Kendrick picks it up and throws him out.
I love that. I love stadiums that still have organs and they play them. Just feels just the tradition of baseball. I remember playing in Chicago. There was no music or there was no walk-up song. You didn't have that. It was just the organ playing.
Here's Alexi Amarista stepping in. 208, 3 home runs and 29 runs batted in. So Alex Wood in search of his 12th win. He's done well at Dodger Stadium. Amarista making his first start in left because the Padres are essentially out of troops.
Or as deep as the Dodger roster is as thin as the Padre roster is.
And Pat Murphy, and there's Dave Roberts right next to him. Have 3 more games left on the season. Cody Decker is on deck. And Wood his 16th pitch. Gonzalez. Wood better hurry. Just did get him.
Alex Wood got a late start off the mound. And Adrian Gonzalez, I mean, he was just fielding the ground ball. Turn knew exactly what he wanted to do, but Wood wasn't quite there yet. As he spun around going, what? Oh, he's still not there yet. And just still leads him like a great quarterback. You know, he never touched the bag.
You know, Dave Roberts immediately went to the phone to the tape room, and it looks like the Padres have a pretty good case.
Yep, he's going to be on base. He never touches that.
2 out of the 3 of our starting left-handed pitchers
I'll tell you
have
what,
not gotten over to first very well. Clayton does it well.
But they weren't even talking about him touching the bag. They were talking about him tagging him on the chest. Let's see if he gets him in the chest before Amarista touches. Did he get him right there? Did he get him?
Got him on the left arm.
Yeah, I think that's what the umpire actually was calling. The umpire wasn't looking at the bag. He was even saying that he got him on his body before he crosses first. So right there, does he get his hand or not? His arm? Right there?
Yep, he's out.
So Dale Scott, the crew chief, and Lance Barrett, the first base umpire who made the call. And there's your freeze frame.
They'll get that shot in New York, and I'm sure that'll be one of the definitive pictures.
No wonder you hit 300 and something in your career with those eyes.
There's he out. A lot of times just looking at, the umpire. And it's amazing what they pick up. Because the umpire is usually going, okay, let me watch. He listened for the ball hitting the glove, and then my eyes are telling me, when they touch the bag. The fact that that's Barrett over there. Was that Dale Scott over there playing at first base?
First base Lance Barrett.
Who was able to see that and make that call.
Who are you going to believe, me or your lion eyes?
Right.
So there's 2 out and nobody on, and here is Cody Decker. Two balls and no strikes. Decker spent the year at AAA El Paso. And Wood falls behind 3-0.
3-0 and 2 out. But Alex Wood has really enjoyed his time with the Dodgers at home. An ERA of only 2.36 here at Dodger Stadium.
3-1. And opponents have hit just 183 against Wood at Dodger Stadium. 2 out, nobody on. 3-2. Not so fast, young man, says C.B. Buckner in his 20th year, calling balls and strikes tonight. He's 53. Born in Jamaica and grew up in New York. Decker is done, and a 1-2-3 inning for Wood, his second strikeout of the game. The 4, 5, and 6 hitters for the Dodgers coming up in the second: Turner, Ethier, and Seager. Stadium Express either from Union Station or the South Bay. It's free for all ticket holders, and service begins approximately 90 minutes before the game and 5 minutes after the last out. For more information, go to Dodgers.com/express. As we go to the second inning, it'll be Justin Turner, Andre Ethier, and Corey Seager against Casey Kelly, the 25-year-old right-hander. Turner took one on the forearm in the game in which the Dodgers clinched, and that left forearm kind of swelled up on him. So he missed yesterday, and he's back in the lineup tonight. Ethier and Seager to follow. Kelly threw 10 pitches in the first inning, fell behind all three, but got all three outs on ground balls. Turner career year in terms of power, 15 home runs and 57 runs batted in. Hit .340 last season.
I think you can still see the welt underneath the wrap that Justin's wearing, that blue wrap on his left front arm. He took a pretty good shot right there.
Just below the elbow.
Almost again. That one almost caught him on the shoulder.
Well, that's either a welt or he's Popeye.
Yeah, that's when you're like, yeah, look at those forearms. All right. Take one there, the swelling. Oh.
First thing you do when you get to the ballpark, you get that thing wrapped so the manager and the coaches can't see it, especially if you want to play.
So Turner starting at third base tonight. Ethier on deck, and Seager, who's starting at short, hits third here in the second. Watch out. Angels and Rangers tied at 1 in the bottom of the 8th. The Royals lead the Twins 3-1 in the bottom of the 8th. And the Astros exploded early on Arizona. 5-0 in the third in Phoenix. Of course, the Mets were rained out. So they're not scoreboard watching tonight, they're television watching. On 3-2, Turner stays alive. So they're rained out. The Mets are rained out. They hope to have a day-night doubleheader in New York tomorrow. They're not sure they could do it. Between the heavy rain and Joaquin moving in, maybe they'll play on Sunday if they can't get in the 2 games tomorrow. A leadoff walk for Turner. Now, here's what happens. Here's a what happens if. If the Mets and Braves, or if the Mets and Nationals can't play tomorrow, Sunday, what about Monday? There are no rules for that. So Major League Baseball is going into some uncharted territory. So if the Dodgers win out today, tomorrow, and Sunday, MLB is going to go down a path that they've never traveled before. Ethier bounces into the 3-6 double play.
Uncharted territories to play that final game of the season just for home field advantage.
Well, the Mets would like to have the home field advantage play on Monday. Washington's not going to be real thrilled about it, and apparently, according to the collective bargaining agreement, they may not have to play. So they're going into a place they haven't been before.
When I played for the dreaded Northern team, the San Francisco Giants, for 1 year in '98, we had to play the 163rd game to break the tie with the Cubs.
But if there is no tie,
right,
then the question is, do they go on best winning percentage? MLB, at this point, is our understanding, they don't know. Haven't been down that road before.
And the interesting thing is the Mets own the tiebreaker because they beat the Dodgers 4 out of 7.
And the irony
But the Dodgers could end up with the higher winning percentage.
Exactly.
Overall.
And the irony is that when the Mets beat the Dodgers in that final game at Citi Field, it was a walk-off hit by Juan Uribe. What goes around comes around. Seager, now 3 balls and a strike. Seager at .315 with 3 home runs and 15 runs batted in. 3-2. And again, if the Mets and the Dodgers finish up with the same record, the Dodgers would open in New York on Friday. So there's a lot on Mattingly's plate this weekend as Seager takes a 2-out walk. That's a second walk given up by Kelly. A.J. Ellis stepping in. Ellis at .232. And really since the 12th of June, he's been solid. Last 25 games, .267. His bat has come alive as Yasmani Grandal has struggled offensively.
Well, we already knew A.J. Ellis had a great eye prior to his batting slump, and then he went into this long tail split at the beginning of the year. But he's definitely changed his mechanics, and this is definitely the mechanics have gotten better.
He's changed his mechanics, so his bat swing path is staying better through the zone. It's not in there and then just out, so it actually gives him time from a timing standpoint that it's getting in the zone sooner, staying flatter through the zone for a little bit while longer. So if you're out in front, you're right on. If you're late, you still have a chance of squaring the ball up. The other thing is he's also been more aggressive. You know, we always see A.J. Ellis always taking that first pitch, always waiting or taking a strike. He's still taking it, but he's more aggressive at strikes, balls he knows he can handle, rather than taking them early in the at-bat.
A.J. 7 home runs and 20 runs batted in. Kike Hernandez on deck. And of course, Ellis is playoff tested. 3 balls and a strike. Casey Kelly tonight has walked 2, hasn't struck out anybody. There have been no swings and misses. 9 foul balls, so he hasn't blown anything past anybody as yet. Still hasn't.
I really like the fact where A.J. is right now going into the playoffs. The way he's swinging the bat, the way he controls the pitching staff. I feel bad for Yasmani not being on his game, but I'm so glad that A.J. has picked it up. And he is a big game player. He hit over 500 in the last playoff series.
3-2. There goes Seager. And that's well hit to center. And it's going to drop in for a base hit. Seager will be held at third. So A.J. Ellis continues his hot hitting, and the Dodgers have runners at the corners with 2 out.
There you go. Well, you were just talking about it, and you do well in the postseason. A lot of it has to do with feeling confident going into the postseason, and the way A.J. Ellis has been swinging the bat, he should be confident. Ball in the outer half, staying on and taking it back up the middle. And that side view is what I was talking about. It was a good angle to see what I was talking about, how that bat was in the zone early, stayed through the plane a little bit longer than normal rather than just being in and out of the strike zone, and took it back up the middle.
Kike Hernandez, fresh off the disabled list, takes a strike, and it's 0-1. His 26 games with the hamstring. He had assumed the starting role in center field before he got hurt and reclaimed it almost immediately after returning. Here's the 0-1. Well hit to left field, but it is hooking foul.
You know, like getting married or having a child kind of matures you. We don't see all the antics from Kike as much anymore now that he's kind of viewed as a starter compared to a utility or bench player. He's gotten a lot more serious about his game as we take a shot of the
The Rally Bananas.
The Rally Bananas that Kike created. You have a little more time when you're sitting on the bench to get inventive.
I was about to say that. I mean, that happens when you are starting every day, when you are playing. And when you're going out there preparing for the game, when you're taking your infield, your batting practice, everything is with a purpose to get ready for that game. Not that you aren't trying to get ready, but it's a little bit different when you're not starting.
Hernandez swings and misses, and that'll end the inning. No runs, a hit, 2 walks, 2 left. After 2, Padres and Dodgers scoreless from Dodger Stadium. Jeep Cherokee with an EPA estimated 31 highway MPG. It's the perfect choice. Visit Jeep.com today. Scoreless through 2 on the final Friday night of the regular season at Dodger Stadium. Mega Dodger dog. Travis Jankowski, Casey Kelly, and Corey Spangenberg to hit for San Diego as we begin the third, each team with a base hit. Jankowski in his 32nd game. He's got 17 hits, hitting barely 200. So the Padres are huffing and puffing toward the finish line at 74 and 85. They've got the lowest batting average and the fewest hits in the National League. And their 3 starting outfielders are done. So Jankowski is in. And it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Wood about to throw his 25th pitch. He has struck out 2. And he quickly gets ahead, a ball and 2 strikes. Oral, any early assessments on Alex Wood?
I like the way he's throwing the ball. I was just sitting here thinking about how Brett Anderson's game and this game are like playoff games for these 2 pitchers, because they know they're battling for starting spots, for roster spots. So there are some veterans on the field that are just keeping themselves sharp, and then there's other guys out there that are trying to earn it. And Brett came up big yesterday, 7 2/3, 4 hits, got tagged for 2 runs, but they were brought in on a hit that Chris Hatcher gave up. So Mike Bolsinger, you know, you see a sad face there, just kind of staring out. He's probably going to be on the outside when it comes to the playoff roster, but I'll bet you he'll be somebody that they try and keep in shape for emergency or maybe a later series.
3-2 to Jankowski. Kelly, the pitcher, is on deck. A slow chopper to second base. Kendrick picks up and not in time. Jankowski runs well, gets an infield hit.
That was a good effort by Howie Kendrick. as he charged that ball, as he gets to it with two hands. And as I was watching him, and we talked about his hamstring, and there's certain things that you do in a controlled manner to protect the hamstring, and there's certain things that you just do instinctively that aren't in a controlled manner, that are just a little bit off, that you worry about whether to injure yourself. And that was one of those plays right there where you have to charge that ball, and then you're making sure you get two hands on it as he was throwing off the run. So a lot of things you could tweak when you go after it. So as he's charging this ball and he fielded two hands, he fields it on his throw inside, but everything seemed to be okay. It was a good
Kelly
test.
with the bunt. He advances the runner to second. So the sacrifice, and the Padres with their first runner in scoring position. Spangenberg coming up, and he's a speedster. He has 21 infield hits this year. 21 of his 80 hits, infield singles. And Derek Norris, who's on deck, the catcher, also has 21 infield hits. Breaking ball for a strike. Angels have taken a 2-1 lead in the ninth, but the Astros are pounding the Diamondbacks 6-0 in the bottom of the third in Phoenix. Trout tripled in the ninth and knocked in by Pujols. And the Angels have won 11 of their last 12 one-run games, all of them this month, or at least a month that went by, September. 1 ball, 1 strike. Royals lead the Twins 3-1 in the ninth inning in Minnesota. Two balls and a strike to Spangenberg. Derek Norris on deck. Into center field, right at Kike Hernandez. Barely had to move a muscle.
Kike on that ball, and Alex Wood, when he gets into jam and really needs to go to the well, it's going to be probably his curveball. The league is only hitting .224 off his curveball. The changeup has gotten a lot better in September. He's done a much better job having hitters chase it, starting it on the outside corner and leaking it off.
Norris lined to center in his first at bat. 14 home runs, 62 runs batted in. Rare that a catcher has as many infield hits as Derek Norris does. He and Spangenberg are 12th in the league with infield hits. And Norris has 6 more than the second fastest catcher, JT Realmuto from the Marlins.
You know, or there's got to be hitters that, if you look at their numbers, you're thinking, okay, are they that big of a threat? But then there's guys where it's not about the numbers, but when they step in the box, they always seem like they're just a tough at bat, tough out. And Derek Norris, for me, is one of those guys.
Yes, he is. He's a grinder.
Up the middle, perfectly positioned is Kendrick. The bat is broken, and the inning is over. No runs and 1 base hit. We'll go to the bottom half of the third. Alex Wood will be leading it off, and then Crawford and Kendrick. against Casey Kelly. Nancy B. Didn't take long to break those T-shirts out.
That's her family.
Aha.
Down there, nieces and nephews, and she probably had about 15, 17 people down there. Was rattling off all the names, introducing me. It's
28 years on the job.
He knows over 2,000 songs by heart.
Wood is 9 for 52.
2,000.
I can barely remember the lyrics to my favorite songs.
2,000.
I could be singing my favorite song, and people are next to me can correct me on the lyrics.
No balls and 2 strikes. Back in the old days in Brooklyn, the organist at Ebbets Field was Gladys Gooding. And she was the answer to a trivia question. Who played for the Dodgers, the Rangers, and the Knicks? Gladys Gooding, the organist. Wood is down on strikes, and that's the first out of the third.
Nancy B told a story of her audition where she came in and played, and then they said, yes, you're one of the finalists. And then she played for a Dodger USC exhibition game.
Through the middle into center field for a hit. Crawford is aboard. A 1-out single in the third.
And the 3 finalists played in succession. So she got 3 of the innings. The other girl got 3 of the innings. The other lady got 3 of the innings. And end of the game, they said, you won. You got the job.
28 years later.
And 88 was the World Championship year. And she said, as she talked with us in the pregame show at the desk, she said, you know, let's have a World Championship when I start and a World Championship when I end.
Now Harry Kendrick stepping in.
I think all Dodger fans are hoping for that.
Oh, yeah.
Dodgers begin their 3rd consecutive postseason a week from today or tonight against the Mets, either here or there, to be determined. 1 ball, 1 strike. Of course, the Mets were rained out, and the weather in New York is dicey tomorrow. They're hoping for a day-night doubleheader. And then they're hoping to get a game in on Sunday. Kendrick on 1-1 instead of tossed to first base.
There was a moment in the ceremony for Nancy B that when they announced it over the PA system that she was retiring, and there was a collective groan from the stadium, and that's where she almost started crying. She dropped her head and she started to tear up. She goes, help me. Like, wow. It's all good. They love you. That's why we heard the groan.
Yeah, because nobody
Now watch
knew.
this catch. That's why you bring a glove.
Well, you're right, Oral. I mean, the fans were listening because she hadn't announced it at all. That was the first announcement that on the field that she wasn't coming back.
Kendrick with a base hit to left. So the Dodgers are in business, 1st and 2nd with 1 out. And Gonzalez coming up, and Turner after that. Gonzalez bounced to second base in his first at-bat. They play him to pull in the infield and the other way in the outfield. There's a strike, and it's 0-1.
You're thinking about the playoff roster and seeing Adrian Gonzalez in the batter's box. It's a bat, no matter who's pitching, that he's going to hit. And it brings depth to your bench because of that. And a lot of flexibility. You think about Yasmani Grandal can go over there and play first if for some reason Adrian wasn't able to, or Chase Utley can do that.
Yasmani Grandal's done it the past couple of games.
Corey Seager could probably even go over there and play it. Andre Ethier. So it gives you a lot of flexibility knowing that you don't want to take his glove out of the lineup and you don't want to take his bat out of the lineup. But there's a lot of guys.
Into right center field for a base hit. Rounding third is Crawford. He is on his way home. Kendrick arrives at third. Gonzalez delivers, and the Dodgers take a 1-0 lead.
It looked like the Padres didn't recognize that Carl Crawford didn't really get a good jump, like he froze on that ball, so possibly that ball might have been caught, and they got it in relatively quick, and if they had thought about a relay to home, they might have had a chance at Carl Crawford, but Adrian Gonzalez, we were talking about the consistency of his bat, and they're going to need that bat to get hot as well there to see Carl Crawford go back on that ball. And there was a chance if they were thinking about home and relaying home at Carl Crawford, but they didn't. They just assumed he was scoring easily, and they threw the ball to second base, which allowed Carl to score.
Runners at the corners with one out. Justin Turner coming up. And Turner takes low and outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Turner walked in his first at-bat.
You know how when you're on second and you're supposed to pick up the outfielders, kind of where they're playing, and the weight shifting has gone on so much now in the outfield and the infield, you actually have to pick it up like pitch to pitch. Because I think Carl got fooled a little bit on where the outfielders were there.
Constantly have to be looking.
In our day, you just saw at the beginning of the at-bat,
right,
and you just knew that's where they were going to be. Now these guys are moving on 1 strike counts, 2 strike counts.
Yeah, the 2 times I would look is beginning of the at-bat and with 2 strikes, just in case because that was oftentimes when you might switch or shift a little bit more, knowing a guy who shortens up or likes to go the other way when he's behind in the count.
Dodgers with a 1-0 lead. Runners at the corners, 1 out of the bottom of the third. Turner hitting .318 with runners in scoring position this season. So Casey Kelly missed almost 2 years with Tommy John surgery. This is his second start back. Two and two to Turner. Didn't like the call much.
Strike zone has a strike. It was interesting because Justin is supposed to stay in the box there with the speed up rules, but he called time. He asked for time, and C.B. Buckner gave it to him, so he was able to step out and get off the dirt completely. Regroup.
2 and 2. Turner, a little, excuse me, infield hit. And an error by Jerko. Going to third base will be Gonzalez. Dodgers catch a break and score their second run.
Miscommunication in the middle of the field, Nomar.
Yeah, that was just a weird play because the shortstop there, Jerko, didn't look like he was even looking at the ball. Look at that, didn't know if he was not anticipating it or what, but he didn't even, the angle he went as well too on that ball. That's one where it's slow as a shortstop. You get there early and you have to get your feet set just in case he decides to throw the ball so you can move left or right. His momentum was still going as if it was almost a double play ball. So that bad throw, he had no chance at going and getting that ball.
So runners at the corners. Here's Ethier. Takes under the knees. 1 ball and no strikes. Dale Scott, the crew chief. Ethier bounced into a double play in his first at-bat. Andre, 14 home runs and 52 runs batted in. Dodgers with 2 runs here in the third, helped by an error. Ethier to first, bobbled by Decker. He'll take the play himself, but in to score is Gonzalez, and the Dodgers take a 3-0 lead.
A couple of 3-U's on the scorecard for Andre Ethier, but the second one a lot more valuable, getting the RBI right there. Hit the ball hard, just hit the top of it. Box me up catch down there at first, but Dodgers get a tally.
And lead by 3 as Corey Seager steps in, and Turner is at second base. Inside and low. Boy, the Padres are playing some sloppy baseball the first third of this game. The Dodgers, all charity, happily accepted. The Angels have beaten the Rangers tonight 2-1. But the Astros are winning big in Phoenix. Up and into Seager. In Minnesota, the Twins are down to their final out. The Royals lead them 3-1. Two and 0 to Seager. Outside, 3 balls and no strikes. A.J. Ellis on deck. Seager walked in his first at bat. Turner leading from second, and Seager lines up base hit into center field. Here comes Turner. Throw to the plate is not in time. Turner avoids the tag. Seager is at second, and the Dodgers lead 4-0.
The youngster continues to impress. He hits in the clutch. He hits when he just needs to get on base. He can hit for RBIs.
I really like his approach at the plate. Usually we see times when they go on the inner half. He pulls. He's trying to pull that ball. That ball was on the outer half. He goes the other way. As you see how Justin Turner just avoids the tag there at home plate, that slide. But that's what's impressed me about Corey Seager, and not just me. It's impressed a lot of people. But the fact that he can make an adjustments within his approach. It's not a one-dimensional swing. It's not just swing as hard as you can trying to pull everything. That he will take the ball the other way.
He's never in a rush with a bat in his hand or a glove.
We interviewed Clayton Kershaw today, and I asked him about, has there any young player impressed you coming up in September? And he just chuckled. He's like, what? Talking about Corey Seager? But he just said, I asked him the other day, he goes, do you ever panic? I was like, it's a legit question.
Now A.J. Ellis takes outside and low, 1 ball and no strikes.
It was like, when's the last time you've panicked?
Yeah.
And he has so much poise. And it does seem like the world is moving slow, and he's picking up a lot of details as it moves in front of his eyes.
Ellis takes outside, 2 balls and no strikes.
This is where A.J. really understands what the pitcher's trying to do. You're the signal caller behind the plate. You strategize with your pitcher and your pitching coach on how to get through innings and limit damage. So he knows first base is open. He knows there's 2 outs.
And he knows he can hit that one to center field. Upton's got a long way to go, and it is high off the wall. Seager will score. Ellis sliding into second base. He is out, but the inning is over. Not before the Dodgers score a 5th run. Ellis with his 21st run batted of the year. So the Dodgers come up with 5 runs and 5 hits and leave 5-0 as we go to the 4th. Conference, November 20th, 21st, and 22nd at the JW Marriott LA Live, led by LA Dodgers team physician Dr. Neil Elatraj. Visit baseballmedicineconference.com for more information. Now let's take a look at the Morongo Casino Resort and Spa slow-mo cam. A.J. Ellis, he would single home a run and then get gunned down at second base.
Were they saying slow-mo cam, or is this real time right now? And I'd like to say that AJ just didn't really run hard out of the box, but then the speed never really changed the whole entire time.
I don't like the stride I'm seeing out of him. It looked like he's dragging one leg there. That wasn't a clean stride. Hopefully he's not nursing anything.
Well, AJ continues his hot hitting as Monty Grandal is falling off.
He's chuckling a little bit,
Buckner, because he's going to get it from everybody on the field, including the umpires. When you hit a ball off the center field wall and get thrown out at second, you are being timed with a sundial.
And it's the middle of the night.
Kind of reminds me of when Soch would hit one off the center field wall and get thrown out at second.
Solarte bounced out in his first at-bat. 2 balls and no strikes.
Just love this kid's makeup. He just competes. It's not the highest end stuff.
To third base, and Turner will throw out Solarte.
His mind on the mound and his ability to not melt down under pressure. I know his last outing he got tattooed around, but he comes right back at it. And he and Brett Anderson have both been very competitive in this third starter conversation. Brett stepped up, and Alex is stepping up again here tonight.
Or when your team just gives you a 5-run lead, when you go back out there, do you have to remind yourself, pound the strike zone?
You remind yourself and pretend it's a 1-run game. The only time you start thinking about the 5-0 lead is if all of a sudden somebody gets a leadoff double or a leadoff triple. You go, okay, I'm going to trade outs for runs because I've got a big lead. But at the beginning of the inning, it's pound the strike zone, pound it down, and think you're only up by 1.
Jerko a little nubber. A.J. Ellis calls off Wood. Jerko retired. 2 out.
That was a good sign right there.
Exactly on the legs.
Yep. Because you were talking about, he looked like he might have been nursing something as he was running. But if he was nursing anything, he didn't show any signs of it on this play as he jumps out of the crouch and gets on that ball, spinning around, throws a strike to first base.
That was the first thing I was looking at, is when he came out of the crouch. Like, which leg is he going to drag? And he didn't drag either one.
So A.J. Ellis, as we head toward the finish line of the season, it would appear as if he has reasserted himself as a starting catcher. Grandal continues to struggle. Ellis has hit the ball very well. There's never been much question about Ellis's ability to call a game and catch one.
We've seen that kind of movement on the roster and in the starting lineup. We saw it at third base. Juan Uribe being traded and Justin Turner getting the majority of the time at third base. We saw it in center field before Kike got hurt, that he was starting to take over, and maybe right now AJ is going to take over from Yasmani.
Decisions to be made a week from today or tonight. Dodgers and Mets either here or there, and there's Kike Hernandez, who has reasserted himself in the middle of the outfield.
And then remember Corey Seager.
Into right. Ethier can't get it. That's going to roll to the wall. And Upton is on his way to second base. Melvin Upton Jr. having a much better year than he's had in a couple. That's his 10th two-base hit. And the second hit of the night given up by Wood. Correction, his third. Now Alexei Amarista, generally a shortstop, starting in left field tonight. Pat Murphy running out of pieces to play. Amarista bounced back to Wood in his first at bat. Dodgers 5-0 in the fourth. Astros 7-1 in Arizona in the fifth inning. Angels have won. Broken bat. Wood throws out Amarista. That does it. So the 2-out double by Upton is squandered. And after 3.5, Wood and the Dodgers lead by 5. Head to the bottom half of the fourth inning, and it'll be Kike Hernandez, then Alex Wood, and then the top of the order, Carl Crawford. Dodgers coming up with 5 runs and 5 hits, helped by an error by San Diego. That was in the third, and here we go to the fourth. Hernandez struck out in his first at-bat. You know, the last time the Padres were at 500, you have to go back to the middle of June, June 13th. They would beat Zach Greinke that day on Justin Upton's 8th inning home run down in San Diego, 2-1. They haven't been near 500 since. In fact, the Padres would have to sweep this series just to finish where they did last year at 77 and 85. So it's been a long year in San Diego, one with great expectations going in. Glenn Hoffman, one-time Dodger coach and for a few days manager. Here's the 0-2. Into right. And right there is Travis Jankowski.
They upped the payroll a lot too, Charlie, in San Diego, so the price per win has really gone up for them down there. With all the expectation and adding Matt Kemp and Justin Upton.
And Upton's a free agent after this year, but Kemp's going to be there for a while.
Big game, James Shields.
Who was scheduled to start this Sunday. He will not. They have not announced who will be the starter for last game, James Shields. Derek Norris, an offseason acquisition, has done well.
Kimbrel as well.
Yep.
And then there were then at the trade deadline, they were. Seems like they were shopping everybody.
And they sold nobody.
Right.
So back to the drawing board for A.J. Preller and the Padres this winter. The 1-2. Ball strike 3. Alex Wood is done. Second time he's down on strikes. 2 out, and Carl Crawford coming up. Carl Crawford. Crawford tonight has singled and bounced out. Dodgers came up with 5 runs and 5 hits in the third. Crawford into left. Playable for Amarista. And a 1-2-3 inning for Casey Kelly. And we'll go to the 5th. Dodgers comfortably in front. And Albert Pujols. 2 All-Stars open up about their bond through family members with Down syndrome and discuss using baseball to spread awareness. Watch Connected with the Petersons and Albert Pujols this Sunday at 4 o'clock right here on Sportsnet LA. Alex Wood has scattered 3 base hits. What have you seen so far?
Well, the thing I've noticed the most is in September, his changeup has really improved. It keeps it on the plate, but it's got good depth. You've got to give the hitter one thing or the other, and I think he's given him the width of the plate, but he's not giving him the height, and he's taken the speed off of it. In September this year, 0.87 against that changeup. Better location, better depth.
Corey Decker leads off in the 5th, then takes a ball inside. 1 ball and no strikes. Bottom 3rd of the Padre order. We're in the top half of the 5th. And Wood delivers outside. 2-0.
It's good for Alex when he likes to live with right-handers with the fastball away to have that changeup stay on the plate.
Two and one.
You know, Nomar, when you leave it on the plate, at least I'm giving you as a hitter something that you might attempt to hit, compared to trying to do 2 things and make it that perfect pitch and wander it off the plate.
Well, a lot of times, as you mentioned, in order for the changeup to be effective, it has to be down in the zone because it gets more depth down in the zone. But if you start it off as a ball, or if you start it off really on the corner, and it's not necessarily a ball that you're trying to throw for a strike, but either a swing and miss or a miss-hit ball, then if you start it off the plate, a lot of times a hitter just, well, I'll give up on it, whatever it was. But when you start in the middle of the plate, or where you've been pounding the fastball, then you have a tendency to swing at that more.
Decker drills one down the left field line, but it is foul.
I always thought that the great changeup was a pitch that you're always going to have to throw another one after it, because like you say, they don't swing at it. But the average solid good changeup, that's the one where you get an out. The ball gets put in play, it gets hit weakly, and you move on. But it's like the outstanding curveball sometimes by Clayton. When he throws his great curveball early in the count, pretty much the guy swings and misses that, or he takes it. He's going to have to throw another pitch.
Yep.
Decker out of Santa Monica. Played at UCLA, Santa Monica High School, and takes a call. 3rd strike. So much for the homecoming. First out of the 5th. And that's a 3rd strikeout.
He's sitting there talking changeup, and then he sneaks the fastball by him, and this one does hang on the corner right there, doesn't tail off. It started on the corner, and for some hitters it looks like it's going to be a ball because it's been tailing, but that one stayed straight and stayed on it.
Now Travis Jankowski. 1 ball and no strikes. An infield hit in his first at-bat. 3 hits, 3 strikeouts for Wood. This is his 57th pitch, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. And that's Jose Valentin, one-time Dodger. Valentin was a one-time everybody. He used to have that perfect mustache. Doesn't wear it anymore, and I said, why? He says it's gray. To second, or to shortstop, Seager throws out a very fast Jankowski. There's 2 out.
Number 49, Casey Kelly.
Now Casey Kelly stepping in. Kelly, just his 2nd start of the year. Backhanded it short by Seager. Throw is high, and Gonzalez is able to get his foot down, and the inning is over.
Jose Valentin was saying no, he didn't think he did, so he said right away for them to check that, so we'll see.
Yeah, he did. And the Padres agree.
We're getting you up on the big screen using your social media.
Dodger Baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers. The time is short, but the savings are big at Toyota's Clearance Countdown, going on now. Dodgers sitting pretty as we head to the bottom of the 5th. Howie Kendrick, Adrian Gonzalez, and Justin Turner will bat. If anybody gets on, Andre Ethier will be next. Kendrick 1 for 2, and he scored a run tonight. And if you're just joining us, a couple of notes. 1, the Dodgers with 5 runs and 5 of their 6 hits in the 3rd. Vin is under the weather and will not be with us this weekend, and so we will press on. Kendrick at 294. Takes a strike. It's 0-1. Casey Kelly delivers inside, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Two and 1. Into right center field. That one is well hit. And that's off the base of the wall, and Kendrick will arrive at second base with a head-first sliding double to begin the bottom half of the fifth. Kendrick is 2 for 3 tonight.
Earlier in the game, we were talking about his hamstring. Well, he looked good there hitting, and he looked good there running to second base. That's his signature swing, staying inside the ball, driving the ball the other way. Gets the ball in the outer half. Looked really good running those bases.
So the Dodgers playing with some house money as Adrian Gonzalez has singled, scored a run, and driven in a run tonight. His RBI in the third was his 90th of the year, and the 9th time in his great career he has stroked at least 90 runs in. Turner is on deck, 1 ball, no strikes. Did he go around? Nope. That's Dale Scott, a well-respected crew chief. Turner on deck and Ethier to follow. Boy, they give Adrian a lot of room in right center field. As he fouls it off to the left, 2-1.
That's interesting to me because with a man on second and no out, if you're in a situation where you know Adrian's probably going to try and move somebody over, you would think defensively you might play to the hitter's mind instead of his stat sheet.
That would make sense, Oral.
Spangenberg at second base, about 8 or 9 steps on the outfield grass, and a strike to Adrian Gonzalez, 2-2.
The hitter of Adrian's status, is he practicing getting a guy over now, or is he just 5-0? I'm going to just work on my stuff?
You still play the game because that is your stuff. Because, you know, in the postseason, there may be a time where it's not about, hey, I'm trying to still do my job.
And into right center field, Upton is there to make the catch. So the speedy Melvin Upton Jr. as Gonzalez tried to hit him where they ain't.
You know, as you mentioned, Oral, when you're talking about when you're able to just accomplish the job or what it's in front of you, that also gives you confidence at home plate. That also gives you the feeling like I'm able to handle the bat. I'm able to go the other way, or I'm able to pull it when I need to. I'm able to get the ball in the air for a sac fly. Whatever the situation is calling for, and being able to do that.
Not necessarily a hit all the time, but just to do what you need to do.
Now with 1 out, Turner has got a board on an error and has scored a run. Dodgers 5-0 against a Padre team. They're 11-5 against San Diego this year. They were 12-7 against them last year. Well, one of the reasons why the Dodgers have won the West, they're 43-30 within the division. Upton has to retreat, and it goes over his head. He misjudged it. Kendrick will score easily. And Melvin Upton Jr. was just frozen out there.
Well, he had a bead on it where it's going to be approximately, but his approximate was way off.
I'll tell you, and you're talking about how he scoring easily. Well, it wasn't that easy. It was easy because if he hits the cutoff man, then you got your shortstop out there who's supposed to be the relay man, as he just seemed to misjudge it slightly, though, because Howie was tagging on that ball.
Howie expected to catch it.
Because the way he went back on that ball looked like he had it.
He was just gliding to it. He never ran one step at full speed.
So sometimes you're just reading that the player going, okay, if he has that, but I know he's going away from the player, away from third base, that you can at least get to third when he catches it.
Kelly's night is done. His skipper, Pat Murphy's come and gotten him. Marcus Mateo is coming in. Dodgers with a 6-0 lead, 1 out in the bottom half of the fifth. runs, 6 all told, 8 base hits. And he is being replaced by Marcus Mateo in his 26th outing, an ERA of 4 1/4, opposing hitters 234. He has struck out more than innings pitched. First batter he'll be facing is Andre Ethier, which brings us to tonight's edition of the Coors Light Cold Hard Facts. So who do you think, since the All-Star break, has hit more line drives than anybody in the league? Ethier and then Crawford. Ryan Howard, Marcus Semien in Oakland, and Justin Turner. So they hit him hard.
You got 3 Dodgers there in the top 5. That's impressive.
So a misplay in center field helps the Dodgers score their 6th run of the night. Ethier has bounced to first twice, and one of the 2 resulted in a double play, and the other a fielder's choice and an RBI. Astros 7-2 in Arizona in the 6th. The Angels won their game. The Twins lost theirs. And of course the Mets have been rained out. This time Ethier goes the other way. Andre, 14 home runs, 53 runs batted in, and at 296. He's been flirting with 300 most of the year. Corey Seager is on deck. And it's 1-2. In Los Angeles Dodger history, only Sean Green has hit more home runs as a left-handed hitter than Ethier. Sean with 162. Ethier now has 159. Willie Davis, 3rd with 154. Ethier moving up the ladder in almost every offensive category from the left side in Los Angeles Dodger history. And in point of service, nobody's been around longer.
Taking a little dip in his batting average, 296, but he's still got a chance to hit 300. That will be the 3rd time in his career here with the Dodgers.
Deep to right field, but hooking foul. Talk about line drives.
And then I was going to say, if that stayed fair, that was going to help the average out.
Well, we helped the average, helped the home run chase to be number 1, and hit a line drive.
And help the score, everything. Oh, nice swing.
That was a rocket shot, too. Dodgers lead the National League with 183 home runs. 2-2 with Turner leading from first, and Ethier takes high and away. The count is full.
Nomar, you were with us in Colorado. Remember that majestic home run that he hit in the upper deck? Well, he continued to hit the ball like that in San Francisco. The ball didn't leave the park, but he still got hits from it.
I tell you, he was. I was talking about the batting practice he was taking prior that day he hit that one, and he was hitting them second deck in batting practice with ease.
That one is drilled to right. Is that going to stay fair? No. Same place. And another rocket line drive. You watch these guys play every day. Until I saw that cold, hard fact. The Coors Light cold, hard fact, I might add. Had no idea that he had cracked that many line drives in baseball since the break. One more time on 3-2. Works out a walk. First and second. And here's Corey Seager. Since his arrival, it's been about a month now. You almost can't wait until it's his turn to hit again. What's he going to do this time?
You know, the interesting thing for me, too, a lot of young guys come up here. It's the first time, of course, they've faced a lot of these pitchers, if not all of them. He still jumps on the first pitch. He don't worry about delivery, picking up information. He is an aggressive guy that picks up the ball and says if he likes it or not, and then he goes after it.
Well, he's walked and singled home 2 tonight. And Jimmy Rollins, perhaps indeed it's the passing of the torch.
You know, they've shown Jimmy Rollins after when they clinched, they were being interviewed together. And Jerry Harrison asked, you know, Corey, what has Jimmy Rollins meant? And he just could not say enough good things about what Jimmy Rollins has helped them at spring training, going back to spring training, how he's helped them, talking about shortstop and how he's helping them now.
Into center field, and Upton is there.
You know, the other time you see him, not only at shortstop, but you know, when Corey has played third base, Jimmy's talking to him about every single pitch. And with all the shifting the Dodgers are doing now, telling them the responsibilities, and if a ball's hit short, if a ball's hit left, if a ball's hit hard, you know, he's really teaching him an awful lot.
Well, tonight, Seager is making his 20th start at short. And he has made 4 starts at third. A.J. Ellis with 2 on and 2 out. Takes a strike, 0-1. A.J. 2 for 2 and a run batted in. Dodgers with a hefty 6-0 lead. And Ellis continues to hit well down the stretch.
We were talking about how well, Charlie. How about that? April 6th through June 6th, A.J. Ellis was just batting 138 and only had 2 RBIs and no home runs. Since then, so that's June 7th till today, he's got 7 home runs, 19 RBIs, and batting .289.
And he has picked up his offensive game just in the nick of time as Grandal has struggled. But Ellis down on strikes. The inning is over, and the Dodgers pick up another run. Turner the RBI, scoring Kendrick, and we'll go to the 6th. .76. Back with you tomorrow. First pitch at 6:10. Zach Greinke and Robbie Erlin. On Sunday, Clayton Kershaw will work up a lather against a Padre pitcher to be named. It was supposed to be James Shields. They decided against that. And Monday through Thursday, metaphorically speaking, the Dodgers are going fishing. Meanwhile, Alex Wood. So far, so good, Oral.
He's been outstanding. You know, and he's been efficient. Talk about Brett Anderson going to 7 2/3. It only took him 92 pitches, 66 strikes yesterday to do so well, and 59 pitches for Alex so far. He has really been locked in and efficient also.
Corey Spangenberg is 1 for 2, a leadoff hit in the first, and he flied to center. Starting at second base, very fast runner. Has 21 infield hits, ranks 12th in the league. 1-1. Angels won tonight, but the Astros are beating the tar out of Arizona. It is 10-2 in the 6th inning in Phoenix.
Omar, what's going to be the hardest thing for the regulars from Sunday to Friday?
It's a long layoff. You
guys are so habit oriented.
Yeah, and you know the timing. Often you lose your timing when you're off that long. The other thing too is your body, not to be flat and to have the energy to go out there because you played for so long. There are times when you're off that your body seems to shut down this late in the season because you're just running off adrenaline and fumes.
Call strike 3, 4th strikeout for Alex Wood.
And so that you have to find a way to really almost get yourself almost like in a game situation, as you see Alex Wood there throw a great strike there. But just it's a matter of going, whether it's for me personally, what I was trying to I was like, okay, have a hard workout, have an intense workout, ride the bike, whatever it was. And then that's including the batting practice and the workouts you're getting. But it was on top of it, almost to get the body reminded of the fatigue you're going to go through on a daily basis.
Derek Norris, the hitter, he's 0 for 2, and it's 0-1. So if you're not beaten up enough after 162 games, beat yourself up some more.
You have to. I know it sounds strange.
But you know what I think it is? We don't give our bodies the ballistic stretch that you do in a full game. When you're going full bore, you actually are stretching and you're really scarring stuff down. And now you have those 3-4 days where you almost like heal up, and you don't want to heal up. You know, you need to keep that explosiveness and not let the body scar down.
Well, it's just at the end of the season, when the season's finally over, it's amazing how your body just goes, oh, you just want to sleep for like a few days. Yes, you just want to stay in bed, and you're tired and you're fatigued. And it's not just physical; it's emotional, it's mentally draining. So now you're trying to avoid that feeling because you still got to play the most important games of the year.
3-1 to Norris with 1 out in the 6th.
I used to go into a small depression because you don't get the endorphins and the adrenaline rush that you get from playing, and every day from working out. Those bursts on a daily basis of excitement and fans cheering for you, or somebody booing for you, or getting pumped up in a personal battle with somebody on the field.
But earlier in your career, you made the postseason, Oral. Was it this long of layoffs as well, or is it? It's almost
the wild card game has extended it,
right?
Because you've got to travel a team, you know, and then they got to travel to get to the next round.
Solarte with a ground ball to third. Turner, Kendrick, Gonzalez. Alex Wood continues his efficient performance on this final Friday night of the regular season. 6-0 Dodgers after 5.5. Stadium, where you could win a 1-year lease on a Mercedes-Benz C-Class, a personal lawn care visit by the Dodgers ground crew, season tickets for 2016, and a whole lot more. For all the details, visit Dodgers.com/fan appreciation. Kike Hernandez will lead it off here in the bottom half of the 6th. Mentioned earlier that the Mets aren't doing any scoreboard watching. They're doing some television watching back east. Now, what happens if the Mets and Nationals can't play the 3 games this weekend? Of course, they got rained out tonight. Day-night doubleheader scheduled tomorrow. They got more bad weather coming in. More bad weather potentially on Sunday. And if the Dodgers win out, what happens? Well, as it turns out, MLB rules do not cover that contingency. There is no provision on whether the Nationals would have to spend an extra day in New York for a makeup game or 2 on Monday. So then what? Home field advantage between the Mets and Dodgers could conceivably be decided by best winning percentage, even if they don't play the same number of games. MLB's not been down this road before.
I mean, selfishly, let's give the Storm plenty of time to get past New York, and let's open here at home. We've got beautiful weather here. There'll be no problems on Friday here.
Here's the 1-1. Kike fouls it off to the right.
Should come down to the forecast.
It's amazing to me that they don't take that philosophy every year when they start the season.
Well, yeah, that's
that's a great idea, Oro, but why don't they think about that when the season begins?
There's so many negotiations that go on with where games are played when they make the Major League schedule. From who gets July 4th at home to who opens at home. All the different things they have to
now think
talk about.
If you're the Washington Nationals and the horrible year you've just gone through. Hey, fellas, we need you to hang around till Monday. What?
Yeah, make Jonathan Papelbon and Bryce Harper stick around.
Hernandez fouls out.
In '88, we didn't play the one makeup game with the Mets because neither team needed it to determine anything. So there was one game short there,
right?
The rain out, but these are necessary games.
Yeah, they're impacting the postseason.
So apparently Joaquin is not a baseball fan. Alex Wood's been struck out twice tonight. He takes outside and low, 1 ball and no strikes. The Yankees will host a wild card game on Tuesday in New York. They expect the weather to clear out by then, but the field could be soggy. Two balls and 2 strikes to Wood with Crawford on deck, and the Dodgers comfortably in front 6-0. And Wood's been struck out for the 3rd time tonight. And for Mateo, that's his 2nd strikeout. Carl Crawford 1 out of 3 and a run scored tonight. For Crawford, his 68th game. Carl missed 75 games with that torn oblique. Frankly, they were surprised that he missed only 75 games due to the severity of the injury. It wasn't just a strain or a pull. It was torn off the bone. 1 ball, 1 strike.
When you talk top teammates on this Dodger team, the way Andre Ethier has dealt with all the different things that have been in flux over the last few years with him, Carl Crawford's right up there with him.
And the center field, up and going back. He's at the wall, and he'll track it down, and that will end the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left. Crawford gave it a pretty good poke. We'll go to the 7th. Dodgers 6-0. Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com. Use promo code BLUECREW for free entry. Through 6 innings of play, the Dodgers 6 runs and 8 hits. RBIs tonight for Gonzalez, Turner, Ethier, Ellis, and Corey Seager's knocked in 2. Alex Wood through 6 innings, no runs and 3 hits, 70 pitches, 43 for strikes. He has been cruising along against a Padre club that's got the lowest batting average in the National League and the lowest on base percentage. Jerko 0 for 2. He struck out and bounced out and takes outside and low, 1 ball and no strikes. Melvin Upton Jr. and then Alexi Amarista. 2-0.
As we watch Alex Wood and his pitch count at 72, I think we will see pitch counts from Zach Greinke and Clayton Kershaw that are right around there. Maybe Clayton might even be a little less than that. And I'd say Zach wants a full start, but Clayton definitely wants an abbreviated start come Sunday. For Alex, though, they can push him as far as he wants. He could be on the roster, and he might be a bullpen piece, Longman, and there'll be plenty of time to rest for him.
Which raises the question, pitch count, importance of win, depending on what the Mets do or do not do. To what extent do Mattingly and Honeycutt alter their plan somewhat in the desire to have home field advantage?
Well, knowing that the nucleus and the heartbeat of the club is with Clayton Kershaw and Zach Greinke, they're going to do whatever it takes to make sure they're healthy, ready, and on the workload that they want them on, no matter where those first 2 games are played. After that, I think some of the strategy comes in with all the other players.
Into center field, Kike Hernandez not going to get there. So Jerko with a bloop base hit to begin the 7th.
I.e., you know, Clayton Kershaw's at 55 pitches through 4 innings, and the Mets, if we would win on Sunday and push him to 9 innings and, 115, there's no way they'll make that decision. He's going to be shut down and be rested for wherever his game 1 is, either in New York or L.A.
And you also have to consider not just the starters, but you're also got to consider your bullpen pieces too, guys who may need to get some work in because they too had that long layoff prior to the first playoff game.
Which raises a bigger question then. How big a deal is home field advantage?
Well, I think it's in the equation. I just don't always think it's top priority, depending on which equation we're talking about.
For those of you guys have played, is home field advantage a big deal or not?
To me, it's nice to have, but not a big deal in a 5-game series.
Into right, Ethier going back, and he can't get it. One hop off the wall. Jerko goes to third. He'll be held there by Glenn Hoffman. So Jerko's at third, Upton Jr. at second, with nobody out.
I agree with you, Nomar. The only time it becomes an advantage, you think, is Game 5, but the first 4 games, I don't think there's anything to it at all. And because you have to get all the way to Game 5 before it seems like an advantage, I don't think it's something you concern yourself with.
You know, I always thought about, like, you let's say you don't have home field advantage and you're playing on the road. Well, if you split one of those two, then you have home field advantage because you can close the series out back at home. So that was always, and then let's say you started on the road and then you lost those first 2, came back home and won the next 2. When you make that flight, I mean, you're almost, the momentum's on your side. So Game 4 could be a pivotal game.
Alexi Amarista takes outside, 1 ball and no strikes. So essentially what you guys are saying is home field advantage is like chicken soup. Can't hurt.
Yeah. Like I said, in 5 games. 7 games is a different story. But in a 5-game series, I don't see it as that big a deal.
Luis Avilan going to work in the Dodger pen. Amarista, that was a swing he'd like to take back.
You know, the 7-game series, the 5-game series, the home field advantage, it also matters who your opponent is, too. As far as the flights beating you up, if you've got a young team or an old team, and maybe the flights in New York is something you'd like to avoid, doing that twice.
I'll just do it once.
Yeah, just beat them.
So you do it once either way.
Second and third, nobody out. Amarista the chopper to second. Dodgers will trade the out for the run. In to score is Jerko. Fielder's choice RBI for Amarista. The Padres are on the board. The Dodger lead is 6-1.
First baseman Cody Decker.
As Upton Jr. goes to third on the play.
But on that point, we also heard Don Mattingly talk about it and why he would like home field advantage. Also thinking about staying home for a good 10 days because you have these 3 days at home and then they have a week and be nice and sleeping in your home. And those are all good reasons. And that's great. Like I said, going down the stretch, it's nice to have a reason to really make these games, you know.
Make them count.
Right.
So Honeycutt talking with Alex Wood, who has thrown 82 pitches to this point. 1 out and a runner at third. Dodgers leading by 5. Meanwhile, prior to the game tonight, Mattingly was talking about the potential return of Yasiel Puig. Puig apparently making great progress with the hamstring. We may see him tomorrow or the next day. Might he in fact be available to play? Will they put him on the roster? A lot of unknowns going into this postseason.
It's going to be hard enough to decide on the players they're watching play on what the roster is going to look like, and then you've got to decide with Yasiel to make a prediction on how would he play even without seeing him play.
And a fly ball to right field. Ethier is there. Decker with the sacrifice fly. The kid from Santa Monica produces a run. And the Padres score their second run of the 7th at 6-2.
If you're Alex Wood, those are 2 successful outs right there. I know the Padres scored 2 runs, but if you're pitching to win the game and pitching to be successful for your team and not your individual statistics, you do not risk trying to build a count to find a strikeout. You trade outs for runs and you get in the bench, get in the dugout. 6-2.
Especially with that sizable lead, I imagine that alters your pitch decision. The ability to go about facing somebody.
And Norrell, you've been in this situation as a pitching coach where when you're watching a player like this, for example, and you're going, okay, he gave up 2, but they weren't necessarily those stressful innings, and he has a low enough pitch count to possibly send him out there again, right?
I love what you do here. I think the way he's pitched this inning has been great. I know it was second and third no out. I evaluated second and third no out. I'd love to get an out to the left side of the field. Yeah, they'll score a run, but I keep the guy in second at second. That would have been the primary way to do it. But they got their out on the right side. They moved him over. It's still okay. All right, let him get another out. Let it get a run. But you're keeping your own pitch count down. You're protecting your bullpen. And if we were midseason, if this was May, June, July, that's the way you win successful baseball in the long haul.
2 balls and 2 strikes. And once the postseason begins, it's really easy. All you have to do is win 11 games. And only one team can do that. Play as many as 19. Here's the 2-2 to second base. Nice charity hop for Kendrick. That'll do it. Padres come up with a couple of runs, couple of hits, and we've arrived at the 7th inning stretch. Kendrick, Gonzalez, and Turner coming up. Dodgers 6-2. Other half of the 7th inning stretch. The Dodgers with a 6-2 lead. Kendrick, Gonzalez, and Turner will be coming up against a new pitcher, Jay Jackson. Mateo went an inning and 2/3. No runs and no hits. Jackson's 6th appearance. And out of the chute hasn't done all that well. With the Padres running out of steam, they have a new battery. Jackson is a new pitcher, and Austin Hedges is a new catcher. Howie Kendrick leads off in the bottom of the 7th. Dodgers 6 runs, 8 hits. The Padres 2 runs and 5 base hits. Kendrick has 2 of the hits and 2 runs scored tonight. And takes a strike at 95, and it's 0-1. Jackson was called up 2 weeks ago. As Kendrick fouls it back, and it's 0-2. Between AA and AAA this year, Jay Jackson had a 2.42 ERA and 15 saves, 20 earned runs in 74 1/3 innings. So a lot of auditions for the young Padres as they look ahead to 2016. Kendrick at 296. He's got some mustard. It's 1-2.
I've stood at the plate there with a bat in my hand and seen 96. It amazes me when you guys can take it.
It was a ball.
And I'd be running for my blankie.
We're facing Dwight Gooden, facing Nolan Ryan, Joaquin Andujar at times. The really hard throwers. It just became a blur to me. Anything above about 93. I know you're blessed with different eyesight, Nomar, but it's a few more reps.
It's amazing when you're able to just. It depends on the individual too. We always talk about some guys who have deception, hide the ball really well. Some guys, you can see the ball out of their hand, and that factors in too, what the velocity is saying. But to be able to make contact with it with somebody throwing that hard is, some guys you can see it out of their hands. Sometimes you're able to pick up the release point a lot easier than others. So there's a lot of factors than just velocity when it comes to seeing it, squaring it up, and hitting it.
And the guys that get down the hill, the relative velocity, the guys that actually wait to deliver the ball after their landing leg and get it out front. It's a 3-mile-an-hour reaction time for every foot closer you get to the hitter.
Kendrick down on strikes, first out of the 7th.
And that's what
Kenley Jansen is. That's why he's so sneaky fast at 91, 92 at times.
Right. It made Randy Johnson so good. Randy Johnson, his release point, and he threw 96, 97.
Adrian Gonzalez stepping in, 1 for 3 and an RBI. It was his single into right field in the 5-run third inning that would plate Carl Crawford, the Arco top-tier play. Gonzalez takes high and away, 1 ball and no strikes. Was there a fastball pitcher, Nomar, that intimidated you at all? Like, woof.
No.
And I know you don't say that bragging. I mean, you have that skill.
And you know what? I say that also for all kids back home as well, because you have to have confidence when you step into the box. You can't believe that, oh my goodness, this is. There are guys who you're like, oh wow, that guy throws hard, but not like I'm scared or I feel intimidated because this guy's throwing hard. I used to think, wow, great, because I was just brought up. My dad was taught me so much as a young kid. Well, don't forget, and you hear that cliche, the harder they throw, the farther it goes. And I'm like, all right, just got to make contact with it. Great, thanks.
First time I heard the hiss of a fastball, I thought, well, maybe something else in my future.
You know, it's funny. The only times where where there was just fear or something like that was after, I think, when I was in the big leagues, and then I got injured and had to do a rehab. And if you go down to like single A and there's a guy throwing 98 that hard, but they don't know where it's going, then you're going, all right, you know what? I can probably forego this at bat. It isn't worth it because. He's probably fired up going, all right, I'm facing a big league hitter. He might even jump it up a little bit, doesn't know where it's going. You're like, no, thank you.
Justin Turner, 1 for 2, a run scored and an RBI tonight. He's also walked and nearly gets hit by a pitch again. He was hit a couple of days ago, and his left forearm swelled up pretty good.
You know, before all the minor league parks got upgraded, big leaguers used to kind of determine, or organizations determine, where they send their big leaguers on rehab according to how good the facility was. Where were the best lights? Where's going to be the best weather? So you'd watch a guy go down on rehab for a start, and he might go to Double-A, and the next start he might go to A-ball, and you go, what's going on? It's like, well, they're home, and they've got better weather, and they like the ballpark there, and they're doing it for safety and for competition.
Yeah.
2-1 with 2 out of the bottom of the 7th.
So many great new facilities have been built now. You really don't have to even make that choice anymore.
No, you're right, Oral. That definitely factors in a lot. But I remember a lot of times when they would ask me and they were saying, "Oh, we want to," I was like, "No, send you out to Double-A or send you out to be short out." Like, I'll take the longer trip to Triple-A.
Yeah.
Just because I knew the guys had an approach or knew where they were also, you know.
Yeah, I could get my work. I get my work at A-ball, Double-A, Triple-A. It didn't matter for me as a pitcher.
Right, but for me as a hitter, I felt like I can get my work more at Triple-A, where I knew they were going to be around the plate, they were going to have a plan of attack, So I had to think up there rather than a guy who was just going with just incredible stuff and not know what he was necessarily doing or had a plan of attack.
Turner works the count full with 2 out in the bottom of the 7th. Astros now 15-2 over the Diamondbacks. Angels won tonight with a run in the 9th. A Trout triple and a Pujols single. Turner is done, and so is the inning. So Jackson comes in, retires his side, and strikes out 2 of the 3 batters he would face. We'll go to the 8th. That's Joel Peralta. 6-2 Dodgers. Lead Howie Kendrick, a single and a double. He scored a couple. Adrian Gonzalez knocked in his 90th run of the year, and Corey Seager continues to impress. Alex Wood is on his way to his 12th win. Joel Peralta begins the 8th inning. That was the DraftKings game summary. And for Peralta, his 32nd appearance, an ERA of 4 2/3. So the veteran right-hander will be facing Austin Hedges. This is his first at-bat of the night. Came in part of a double switch. So Alex Wood, 7 innings, 2 runs and 5 hits. And what'd you think, Oral?
I thought he was outstanding. I think, the Padres don't have the heftiest lineup right now, but he made a lot of good pitches that would get a lot of good hitters out. So I think he showed very well, and I don't think it's going to come down to him getting the 3rd spot in the rotation. I think Brett Anderson's probably going to get the nod there. I don't have any inside information. I'm just kind of speaking from what I've seen. But he's got a chance to make the roster.
I would think also the fact that his experience that he has coming out of the bullpen.
Yep.
You're talking about that long relief individual. Him having that experience, and also he seems like a guy who seems to be able to warm up quicker than Brett Anderson as well.
I think he can do that for sure, and I think that I like his breaking ball against left-handers. So if you did something in a matchup situation and you didn't need length, you could use him as an early matchup guy.
Let me ask you a bigger question. Yesterday, Brett Anderson was terrific statistically. 2 runs, 4 hits, 7 2/3. The Giants, though, had 3 hitters in the lineup. Everybody else was young and impressionable. Padres essentially the same thing. So then how do you make a judgment on a pitcher's performance against lineups that, well, aren't as good as they might be?
Well, there's a level of things that you're looking at as far as not results and who it is, but execution of the pitches. And so I would be looking at the execution of the pitches, and I thought Brett executed a lot of pitches, high quality pitches, and I think Alex did the same thing tonight.
Yeah, you look at the ball. You look at you're also talking to your catcher too later. You know, you're saying, hey, what was the movement like? And Alex Wood right now watching that ball staying down in the zone. You touched on it, Oro, about his changeup, the depth of his changeup.
It's late and sharp.
And Brett Anderson was doing the same thing. He also had that late movement. He's getting a lot of ground balls.
Spangenberg swings and misses, 0-1. He's 1 for 3.
And I'll tell you, you know what, Charlie? It's funny is that even though you have some of these young guys, some of those young guys are the toughest to pitch to. I mean, they're out there trying to make a team or leave an impression, and you also don't have a lot of information on them. You don't know exactly how they're going to approach you, so they're not necessarily. So you have to execute to some of these guys.
Well, certainly Anderson did that yesterday, and Wood has done it tonight.
It's the same evaluation skills that the scouts and the organization has to use when you're bringing a minor leaguer up here. When are they ready? And when they get up here and they hit their stride right away, some really good evaluation.
They were talking about Corey Seager when he was at Double-A this year in May. They called down and said, well, what do you think? The response was, he needs a new challenge. A few days later, he was in Oklahoma City. Jock Peterson, Clayton Kershaw in conversation. 1 out, nobody on. 0-2 to Spangenberg. We're in the top of the 8th. Can he hit? Can he run? Can he throw? He needs a new challenge. So Peralta strikes out the first 2 batters of the 8th. Now here's Derek Norris, who began the game behind the plate and moved to first base in the 7th.
We watched workload for Clayton Kershaw coming up on Sunday, Zach Greinke tomorrow. I'm sure Kenley Jansen wants to pitch on Sunday. I'm sure Chris Hatcher will want to pitch on Sunday. Luis Avilan will probably want to pitch on Sunday. And the guys that they use on Sunday and tomorrow are probably going to be a good preview of who's going to be on the roster.
And of course, there are no games Monday through Thursday. Friday, the Dodgers and Mets will open either here or there, to be determined between now and the end of the weekend. Well, the Mets and their fans no doubt watching this game tonight. Pressure is on a little bit tomorrow. They have to play 2 tomorrow. Day-night doubleheader, and depending on how the weather is back east. And it's not supposed to be very nice. So they'll be playing through raindrops if they play at all.
You know, the interesting debate on the roster, too, is going to be once the roster's formulated, who's the best team to put on the field? And who's the best team to put on the field with a 1 or 2 run lead after the 7th inning?
And who's the best team to put on the field against the Mets?
Right. And they're going to go through that and all those matchups. But, you know, there are so many scenarios now with who can play where in the infield and who can play where in the outfield, that you're going to be looking at, if we start this group, then we could do this if we have a lead late. But if we have a tie game late, who's going to pinch hit for who? And then if that pinch hitter is successful or unsuccessful, what is our defense? What's the level of that defense? It's going to be a really interesting roster, and then a really interesting lineups according to who they're playing.
I think Don Madden will say we're just going out the best for today.
It's what I think that's the catchphrase this year.
Right.
Gives us the best chance to win today whenever asked about the lineup. Because there's so many reasons of why you're making certain decisions.
Scott Van Slyke.
There's not enough time in the analytics and in the strategy of how you want to manage the game, and some of it you don't want to give away to the opposition. There's so many things they're deciding on. His whole media scrum for the 20 minutes that he does it before the game would be strictly on strategy, and you don't want to tell the Mets that. The Mets right now are trying to predict who's on our roster, and we're trying to predict who's on their roster.
Well, we were talking about it the other day. The manager, when he says giving our team the best chance to win. Jimmy Williams used to say, manager's decision, and left it at that. Jimmy with one M.
Loved playing for Jimmy Williams, yes.
Manager's decision. Okay. How do you argue? Into right field. That's going to drop in front of Ethier for a 2-out single for Derek Norris here in the 8th inning.
And manager's decision is really interesting because who you put up to pinch hit and why. Well, this guy's got a slider. My one hitter hits the curveball better. My other guy hits the slider better. I know what the numbers say. This guy's got a sore thumb and he's okay on the ball in because he can, his hands are closer to his body, but he can't hit the ball away. And this guy's going to throw him a lot of sliders, so I'm going to go with the guy here. There's just some of those subtle things.
And sometimes I know, and Jimmy was one of them. Speaking of Jimmy, he was one who would watch batting practice a lot. He'd also know, oh, this guy's swinging the bat really well. He took a good batting practice. He was going the other way. I know he was struggling, or he's been working on something compared to maybe another who didn't have such a good batting practice or was really fighting it. Didn't have as much confidence even at batting practice as he's trying to work on things. So those factored into his decision.
Well, they established the first television room here at Dodger Stadium by our locker room where we had the in-house cameras where we could watch the opposing team's batting practice. When on the nights I wasn't starting and when I was starting, I'd watch it batting practice.
Solarte, the little bleeder, and that will end the inning. So a nice job by Peralta tonight, picking up the mask for his catcher. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. 6-2 Dodgers. Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop at ChooseNissan.com. Crowd of 45,564 watching this final Friday night game. After the game, the Friday night fireworks show here at Dodger Stadium. The Dodgers put their own fireworks together with a 5-run third inning, scored another run in the 5th. And as we go to the bottom of the 8th, Kevin Quackenbush is on in relief, and he'll be facing Andre Ethier. Ethier tonight 0 for 2 and a walk, fielder's choice, and an RBI. So the Dodgers after tonight, 2 left with the Padres. Back with you tomorrow. First pitch at 6:10. Zach Greinke, Robbie Erlin on Sunday. Clayton Kershaw against somebody. It was supposed to be James Shields, and the Padres said, forget about it. So they haven't figured out who it's going to be. Usually it's been Despaigne in situations like this. He's been the Padres version of Yasmero Petit. A little bit here, a little bit there, start, long, short. They have not announced, but they have to have a pitcher because it's the rules.
May not be a pitcher, just somebody on the mound to throw the ball.
That's right. That's his job description. So Ethier at 296, 14 home runs and 52 runs batted in.
I wouldn't be surprised if he hits a home run in this at bat. The way he was hitting it his last at bat, those balls foul.
He hit 2 screaming line drives off Mateo in the 5th inning. About 7-8 feet foul down the right field line into practically the same place.
Got a nice count right here.
I was hoping the fan he hit him to move to fair territory.
Well, this one's to center field. Upton's got a long way to go. He is back at the wall and he'll make the catch.
A little too high and a little too away.
Yeah, just pull that ball and it's gone.
Yeah.
I mean,
But the pitch,
deepest part of the field.
He hit the ball to the correct place according to the pitch. That ball's a little bit more in. Take a look at Carl's cam. See the trajectory. And unfortunately, watch it fall short.
Oh. During the day, you know, if that was in the first inning, that might have gone out. Might have carried.
Corey Seager takes a strike.
I know you're a bit disappointed, but you know what? Oro was a good swing. He's swinging the bat well. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
And again, the little factoid of the night was that Corey's cold hard fact, which I guess originated at Corey's Field. The fact that since the All-Star break, more line drives off the bat of Andre Ethier than anybody in Major League Baseball. Now, who makes that judgment and how they do it is another question, but there he is at the top of the chart. So he's been hitting the ball solidly the second half of the year. Of that, there's little question. 1-2 to Seager, who was walked, single, driven in a run, and fly to center. Corey at 319, 3 home runs, 16 runs batted in, and he has been struck out as Quackenbush pulls the string.
Catcher number 17, A.J. Ellis.
Pedro Baez beginning to warm in the Dodger bullpen. Ellis has 2 hits and an RBI tonight. So he continues to hit the ball very well the second half of the year. Until the 6th of June, Ellis was hitting 138. Since then, 289. Into short center, and Upton loves it. Avoids the collision and ends the inning. So we'll go to the 9th. Baez warming in the pen. Jerko, Upton Jr., and Amarista coming up. Dodgers 6-2. Watch out. Watch out.
All right, Dodger fans.
Premium. Watch every out-of-market game live on more than 400 supported devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, and more. Visit MLB.tv today. Joel Peralta goes an inning, no runs and a hit, 17 pitches, 14 for strikes. And here's Pedro Baez on to clean up the small details in his 51st appearance. 59 strikeouts in 49 innings. And opposing hitters batting .255 against him.
Pedro Baez, a big arm out of the Dodger bullpen, and whether he's effective or not in the next 3 games, including this one, I think he's probably going to make the roster because he's one of the few guys that if all of a sudden you had a leadoff triple or a leadoff double and you needed strikeouts to keep people from moving up 90 feet, which is going to be so huge in the playoffs, this is the arm out of the bullpen that can punch somebody out.
As you guys were mentioning earlier, come the postseason, real estate, the price of real estate goes up. 90 feet, 90 feet, 90 feet. And more times than not in the postseason, because the best teams are there with the best pitchers, less runs are scored. Jed Jerko 1 for 3 and a run scored tonight. And the first pitch of the 9th.
We talk about that 90 feet. So how often do you see where postseason rosters have that one guy that when you just need that stolen base, the guy who can come in and maybe pinch run in that critical situation, because we talk about 90 feet is so important.
Well, the bench coach for the San Diego Padres, talk about 90 feet. Maybe the most historic stolen base in postseason history. With the Red Sox down 3-0 in the 2004 championship series to the Yankees, everybody in the park knew he was going to try and steal second off Mariano Rivera. And he did. It was a bang-bang play. And that stolen base turned the fortunes of the Red Sox around. Down 0-3 with, of course, come back and win and beat the Yankees. One stolen base in one key moment just turned everything around. It was palpable. And he's almost as popular in Boston as you are, Nomar.
No, he is, Doc. Because of that one. That stolen base. It was huge. And then it was Bill Miller. Knocked back up the middle.
Villar and Mirabelli were telling anybody who'd listen, if we win game 4, we will win the 3 after that.
I knew that. I said that. I was watching the game, and I said, they just won the World Series. And people were like, what? I said, oh, I know. You got to either sweep them or they're winning it.
And it was that one stolen base that changed everything around.
You know, thinking about the Dodgers, with as disappointed as Jimmy Rollins might be if Corey Seager ends up playing in front of him, think about him coming off the bench. A switch hitter, a veteran, a guy who can steal a base, a guy who's an outstanding glove as far as a defensive replacement. There's so many things, and Jimmy could be the guy that steals a key base for the Dodgers.
And in every way, he's been there and done that. Into center field, that's Kike Hernandez. And that's the first out of the 9th. Not bad when you have an MVP pedigree like Jimmy Rollins coming off the bench in a key situation. First, the Dodgers have to take care of the Mets, either here or there on Friday. Chase Utley, the veteran presence.
There's a lot of flexibility in the pieces that are on the roster now. We've seen Chase Utley made some really nice plays in San Francisco at third base, some wrong-footed bare hand plays. How he's back and healthy.
Into short center, and once again, Kike Hernandez. So there's 2 out in the 9th. And the Dodgers are 1 out away from their 90th win of the year. Six runs, 8 hits for the Dodgers. 2 runs, 6 hits for the Padres. And it's no balls and a strike to Alexi Amarista. 0 for 3, a fielder's choice and an RBI. So the Dodgers now an out away from their 90th win. And their 3rd consecutive season in doing so. That's only happened twice before. In 76, 77, and 78, Dodgers won at least 90. But the 51 through 56 Dodgers won 90 or more for 6 consecutive years. And now the Padres are down to their final strike. Well, the pressure is on the Mets, who have that day-night doubleheader tomorrow, weather permitting, in New York with Washington. On 1 and 2. And tomorrow, Zach Greinke, Robbie Erlin, first pitch at 10 past 6. Here's the 1-2 from Baez. 98, but too high.
Good practice for Pedro right here to see if he wants to go with that high fastball again. Get it down a little bit lower. Look for the strikeout.
2-2.
'89 is the changeup. AJ bringing the changeup along.
I think it's great. Sends a message to Pedro Baez to have some confidence in it. That got to show it. Sometimes it's not just a matter of it being effective, but showing it to put it in their mind.
2-2, 2 out in the 9th. Seager has it. Amarista is out. The Dodgers win 6-2, and the Dodgers improve their record to 90 and 70 with now 2 games left in the regular season. At the moment, a half a game in front of the Mets in the race for home field advantage. Dodgers 6 runs, 8 hits, no errors. The Padres 2 runs, 6 hits, and 1 error. Wood wins it 12-12, and Kelly takes the loss 0-2, and the Lexus player of the game, in fact, Alex Wood. 2 runs and 5 hits in 7 innings. He struck out 4 and he walked 1. So the Dodgers feeling good, sitting pretty. Greinke goes tomorrow. And that is a wrap for us from Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. For Omar Garcia-Parra, Oral Hershiser, Charlie Steiner say good night and goodbye. Now stay tuned for Access Sportsnet Dodgers, brought to you by Nissan, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.